Good evening and welcome to the Hamilton Report. I'm grateful that you're with us this evening to spend half an hour. We're taking a little detour this week. Everything that we deal with on this program is of interest, we hope, to Democrats around the state. And from what we're hearing from you folks, it is. And I appreciate that kind of feedback. Everything is about politics in one way or another. But tonight we're detouring a bit to move away from political discussion to talking a little bit about Thanksgiving this year. And joining me tonight will be members of the Oklahoma Democratic Party staff. I should mention that there is, if you will leave a comment, we'll happily get your thoughts on the screen with us as well tonight about how you're spending Thanksgiving, or most especially what you're thankful for. But there's a misconception that the Oklahoma Democratic Party has a huge staff. The number of times I hear people say, oh, could you just have someone on your staff do X, Y, or Z? The challenge with that is we have a very small staff. In fact, Oklahoma has one of the smallest staff groups of any state party in the nation. And yet we're still able to accomplish what we do in supporting and lifting up Democrats around the state and working to get more Democrats elected, because we have a good staff, a good team working to do that. I'm very proud of the work that we are able to accomplish and the people that make that happen. And so we're going to be bringing some of those folks on tonight to spend a few minutes with us on this Thanksgiving week. And I need to begin by saying that obviously this year is different in so many ways. It's been a year of learning new ways of doing things, communicating, working, just living. And so I know it's been a challenging time, and certainly this is a major holiday that will also be different for all of us this year. But I'm really happy that Sarah Gray is joining us tonight. She handled all of our press and media correspondence, our communication strategy and development for our coordinated campaign this year. And I really enjoyed working with her, and I'm sorry that I don't get to work with her every day. She's a bright spirit and somebody that I've come to really respect. Sarah, how are you tonight?
I'm doing so well, Scott. Thank you for having me on and for the very generous introduction there.
No, I meant what I said. You are a mom with children, and this is a time where we all have traditions of one kind or another. How is this Thanksgiving different for you and your family?
Well, thank you for asking that. Yes, I am a mom. I have two little boys. They're 1 and 3, and you'll probably see one of them running around in the background at some point. I would say this year is obviously very different given COVID. I'm sorry to say that I haven't spent hardly any time with my grandmother this year because I've been trying my best to protect her from me. I can't stop working, obviously, because I do have children and bills to pay. So I'm still out in the public, much less frequently, thankfully, but want to keep her safe. So generally we would be spending the holiday all together at her house, even though I'm not a big proponent of Thanksgiving being the holiday that it is, but I do enjoy the free time to spend with my family.
Yeah, I recognize, and I appreciate you saying that, because Thanksgiving has taken on, I was going to say controversy. I don't think it's so much controversy as it is more meaningful thought on behalf of a lot of people looking at the tradition itself. Well, I think it's good that we set aside time to be thankful. I know as a Native woman, you would have to be of mixed emotions about a holiday like this.
Absolutely. And, I have to throw in there, I am a citizen of the Great Cherokee Nation, also a descendant of the Muskogee Creek Nation and the Kiowa tribe. But, it just gives me a little more to reflect on. I'm grateful, of course, for my family and our health, as always, but I'm also very grateful for organizations like Illuminative and the Cherokee Nation Film Office. These are two really great groups that continue to uplift the voices and stories and cultures of Indigenous folks all across the United States. And they do this work year round to make sure that we're able to have appropriate and authentic conversations about all things Indigenous, including holidays that were at their inception celebrations of white supremacy. So very grateful that we're able to have, authentic conversations with allies and fellow natives alike.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. What are you going to be doing on Thanksgiving?
I will be working. It's no secret to anyone who knows me that I am a workaholic, and I have no qualms with that. So I'm just going to be continuing pushing along. Very grateful that, despite the pandemic, I've been able to stay employed. One of the good things about the political machine, it doesn't stop for anyone or anything. So I'll just be continuing forth on that.
All right. I'm glad to know that. Sarah, stay with us. I'm going to come back to you in just a few minutes, okay?
You bet. Thank you.
Another person who has actually been on this program before, someone I always enjoy spending time with, talking to, because I learn something from him every time we talk. He was a guest with us a couple of weeks ago. He was the development director for our coordinated campaign this year, but he's most known for his office as president of Young Democrats of America, a national position. And I'm always happy to welcome back my friend, Josh Harris-Till. Josh, how are you tonight?
Hey, I can't complain, Scott. How are you?
I'm well. I know that we've talked about this before, but this is a different kind of a year for you. You just recently said farewell to your dad. And so how are you approaching Thanksgiving this year compared to other years?
It's going to be an interesting year. I'm really big on family. Anybody who knows me knows that. I usually stop by a number of different Thanksgivings, spending time with friends and friends who are like family to me, or I travel out of state to spend it with my relatives. I don't have any relatives in the state of Oklahoma, so I usually have to travel in order to be able to see them. So this year it's definitely a lot different. Definitely giving me an opportunity to reflect on what I'm thankful for, what I'm grateful for, who I'm thankful for, and I plan on utilizing this time to kind of, since I can't be there in person with everyone, check in on as many people as possible.
You cooking a turkey?
I don't know. I got a turkey. And so I may cook a turkey, but I also know who I am as a person. So I'll probably end up ordering something and calling it a day.
All right. Well, stay with us, Josh. I'll bring you back in a minute. I want to bring on the person who was responsible for the field effort, the field director of our coordinated campaign this year, Stuart Schofield. He is also transitioned back to his full-time job as field director for the Oklahoma Democratic Party. How are you tonight, Stuart?
Doing well. Good to see you, Scott. How are you?
I'm well too, thank you. And your family lives not far from you here in Oklahoma City, and yet it's been a challenge because you haven't been able to spend time with your mom and dad, and I understand that. I saw my mom briefly on Saturday for the first time since September, and she lives 10 miles away, so I know that that's a challenge. Are you spending Thanksgiving with your family this year?
Yeah. So I was actually able to do a little quarantining in the last couple of weeks. Both my parents are in the 60s, so I like to, be cautious. But I already got a negative COVID test back actually today. So I've been quarantining and taking another rapid antigen test on Wednesday. So yeah, just being extra safe, and we're going to spend the lunchtime hours together. Of course, socially distanced, wearing masks when we're not eating. But yeah, that's not my family tradition. We usually spend it in Texas, where the majority of my family is. I have grandparents in their 90s who, I don't have. I spent one Thanksgiving actually in an airport Chili's. And other than that, every other one I've spent at my grandparents' house. I'm 30, so I'm 29 one to grandparents and Chili's. I got stuck, bad weather coming when I was working, not in Oklahoma. So yeah, other than that, it'll be pretty different. Yeah, I've never had a Thanksgiving where I wasn't with them and my uncle and his nuclear family and those folks. So it'll be a little different, of course, and my two sisters as well. Neither of them are going to be with us. So yeah, it's like most Americans, it's looking a little different this year.
But you get to
we're,
since you're the only guy home, so that's good.
Hey, yeah, exactly. That's a win for a middle child right there, right? I'm the only one that quarantined, and we're going to try and make it as normal as possible. And we'll see the Dallas Cowboys lose, so that'll make it feel like as a Cowboys fan, that'll make it feel like every Thanksgiving.
Every Thanksgiving. Stay with this, sir. I want to bring on Jared Deck now. Jared is the man who was the executive director of our coordinated campaign this year. And welcome. I'm glad you're with us tonight. How are you tonight, Jared?
Hey, I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me, Scott. It's great to see you and the gang. Not too far removed, just a few weeks, but doing well.
I'm glad. How are you and your family spending Thanksgiving this year?
Well, I believe we are going to spend it at home, just with our little nuclear crew here. We have a turkey that I think JC's boss gave us probably 9 months ago that we've had frozen, and we are going to give it a shot, as they say.
Okay, well, but I know that's different because you would normally spend it with your mom and dad and your
yeah,
extended.
that's right. Yeah, so yeah, we are going to spend it here in Norman at the house, and just try to just get some time with us. So, and after this year, having to, both of us working, basically out of the home and not being able to pay attention to each other very much because we all had work to do. It's nice to get a little bit of, quality family time. Yeah.
I definitely understand that. Jerry, stay with us a bit. Next up, I want to introduce you to Tucker Gamble. Tucker is our deputy data director for the Oklahoma Democratic Party. And Tucker, you also are having a different kind of Thanksgiving this year because it's all brand new for you in a sense because you and your family are all in one place now.
Yeah, we are. This will be our second Thanksgiving with our little girl. She is 14 months old now, and so the last one she doesn't remember much from. But we're looking forward to it. We are going to spend it with my mom and her wife. With that said, we're both getting tested tomorrow to make sure that we are negative before we gather in a small group of 5.
Well, small group of 5. That certainly fits in with the guidelines that we're hearing. Now, you joined the party just right about this time last year. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's been just about a year now.
So you've traveled a fair distance in that time in the work that you have done and are doing. Andrew Rickel, our data director, was planning to join us tonight, but honestly, he's on vacation today, and I certainly didn't twist any arms. Also, I should mention that Ryan Starkweather, our operations director, is also taking a vacation day today. So Tucker, now this time last year, your wife and daughter were still in Arkansas, but you were here and you were traveling back and forth. And when I first met you, I had no idea, but you were actually doing that drive sometimes 2 and 3 times a week, and that's quite a commute.
Yeah, it was a couple days a week, usually 2 or 3. I was usually back in Arkansas on the weekends for a couple months. But yeah, we're happy to all be in Norman now.
I'm glad to hear that. Stay with us, Tucker. And again, I want to just invite our viewers, if there are things that you are particularly thankful for, drop them in the comments because I'd like to share those with our staff. Angela Almond also could not be with us tonight. Our communications director, she had a previous engagement. Jared, it looks like you are tuning up there. If that's the case, you ready to to entertain us a little bit?
Hey, I aim to please.
So get with it.
Oh no, this is what I do. This is typically my day job, and I know that you had asked us to kind of, come prepared to talk about what we're grateful for this year, and I want to say honestly, I'm grateful for the work. My typical day job is I'm a touring singer-songwriter, and this year in the midst of COVID, all of my touring was canceled, and remains to be such, and as it stands. So having the opportunity to work for the Oklahoma Future Fund with the Oklahoma Democratic Party, it really gave my family a chance to survive this year together, and so I'm incredibly grateful for that opportunity. Not to mention the opportunity to work with all the folks that you're seeing here tonight, and to do the work that we all know is so important, because it's so vital to see our values in action in our government, and that can't get done without the party and the work that's being done.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I'm glad that you've been a part of it. Lisa Andrews, our chair, just posted that she's grateful for the ODP staff, and I will tell you, she lives and is working out of Tulsa. We are all here in Oklahoma City, and we've made it work and work very well. In a typical year, she would be in Oklahoma City probably several times a week. But with COVID, we have managed well. She still spends a fair amount of time in Oklahoma City, and certainly I gave her a tiara because I think of her as the Zoom queen. Some days spending as much as 10 hours a day on Zoom calls. And for all of us, I know that, gosh, if I hear one more time, you're still muted, Scott. It won't be too soon. Sarah, come back in and talk to us a little bit. I want to know, especially this year, what it is that you're most grateful for.
Hey, yeah, thank you. Well, I'll definitely have to echo Jared's sentiments on being grateful to be employed. That has really been a huge weight off of my shoulders. We all were kind of watching helplessly from the sidelines as we had this mass unemployment wave crash through the entire country, but especially here in Oklahoma. And it was tough to see all of these folks lining up, the night before at the different locations trying to get their unemployment benefits. And especially seeing, when they would go out and would have to cut the line off, and it would still be people who were waiting almost all night long who are being told, I'm sorry, we've hit our capacity, everyone go. After the presidential election, obviously, the candidate who I was working for dropped on March 4th after Super Tuesday, and I had a brief period there where I was unemployed, and there was quite a delay in getting assistance there as well, but I was lucky enough to be able to make it through that time span. And of course, with the support of my mom, who watches my kids for me when I work, I was able to get through it. But a lot of folks haven't been so lucky, and I definitely don't take that for granted. That's why I encourage everyone, no matter what situation you're in, or if it's something that you've never thought you would have to do before, take advantage of the free food and the free supplies that are being handed out. I know my tribe, the Cherokee Nation, does free food handouts. Their drive-through, no questions asked, just have your tribal ID. They do those almost every single day in different locations throughout the Cherokee Reservation, and a lot of other organizations are doing that too. So, this is definitely not the time to be too prideful. Everybody needs help every once in a while, and there's a lot of opportunities out there and resources available.
Sarah, I want to echo that, and I really appreciate you bringing that up. Yesterday, I was talking with Christine Bird, and she's been active in the party for many, many years. She's also pastor of New Life Baptist Church, and she has been working with a couple of other churches, giving out 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 food boxes a day. And one thing that she said that I thought was so important, she said, don't judge someone by the kind of car they have.
Yes.
Car is the last thing to let go of. And you know, we are all aware of folks who this time last year were probably contributing to food pantries who this year are relying on the generosity of others. And so it's not a matter of pride. And I really, Sarah, appreciate you bringing that up. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Josh, I want to ask you. You alluded to this a moment ago, but what are you most thankful for this year?
I would have to say the people in my life, my friends. This year has been one that's reminded me very much so about how blessed I am to have amazing people in my network and amazing people who surround me with love and support. You being one of those people, you're always great for a phone call to check on me, just see how I'm doing, say something funny that allows me to kind of just be grounded in that moment. And so I really hope that everybody has somebody like that they can think about and depend on and reach out to. And if you don't, and you know me, feel free to reach out to me. I'll definitely try to be there for you. That's one of the only reasons I've been able to make it as far in life as I have is because I've had folks who've cared about me, shown that love and support.
And you bring up a great point, and we have to be in the business of reaching out to other people right now, because you know so many of us have been locked into our homes or locked into an unfamiliar work setting this year. It's true of older folks. It's true of younger professionals. It's true of college students, and certainly high school, junior high, and grade school kids. So everyone needs someone to talk to, and I appreciate you bringing that up, because hopefully we can all be that person for someone else. Stuart, I know you said you're thankful to be able to spend the time with your family, and I certainly understand that. What's looking at this year as a whole, what are you most thankful for?
I mean, it's hard to not say, people like Stacey Abrams and, incredible organizers around the country who have saved our democracy. As we know, this pandemic is something that Donald Trump couldn't lie his way out of. And, Americans are paying that price. But I think, like a lot of people, I felt a sense of hope, surrounding the, post-election, even though it wasn't as, lopsided as you might want it to be or thought it should be. There were some pretty decisive wins around the country in swing states. And, I'm just thankful for that, because, our democracy was holding on by its seams there for a while, it seems like.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that is a lot to be thankful for. Jared, you mentioned being grateful for the fact that you and your spouse have been employed this year. Looking at the year as a whole, is there anything that particularly stands out for you this year as something that you really will be giving thanks for?
Yeah, that's a great question. For us, the journey that we've had, with our kids, I think it's a familiar journey. Not to dive too much into personal life, but I think it's a familiar journey. Whenever you have, you're just trying to get by. You're trying to raise kids. You've got kids at home who typically would be in school, and you're trying to do your job and make sure that they get somewhat of an education at the same time. It really makes me grateful for educators this year. Not JC and I, like, we both come from families with educators in them, so it's not like we lack any, any gratitude in that area. But particularly this year, it has the virus and the lack of preparation in our government, has really shown the importance and how much we rely on educators and our healthcare infrastructure to just get by day to day. And that's where, that to me is kind of where, we have to really look, be introspective towards our society and our community on what's important to us and where we place our priorities. And I would say, probably, if you want to call it politically, but I would say as a human, I'm incredibly grateful for Oklahomans passing State Question 802 back in June and accepting the Medicaid expansion. Even at the, against all odds, with a governor who obviously had no interest in it, who sent his own bill only to the legislature only to veto it later. And
I'm gonna bring you back to the thankful side. How's that?
Okay, great. Yeah, that's
Thank you.
but anyway, but no, that's something I'm really grateful for this year. Is, as someone who attends and volunteers with the community health center here in Oklahoma, which is the front lines of healthcare. I'm really grateful to the voters of Oklahoma.
Thank you. Well, I haven't mentioned anything personally. Over the years, we have had many different kinds of Thanksgivings, from traditional family gatherings to just the two of us. One year, we decided that we were going to spend Thanksgiving at home and cook the day before, but wound up on Thanksgiving taking a 45-mile bike ride around New York City and then coming home and eating turkey sandwiches. That was a pretty remarkable Thanksgiving. This year, we were just going to have burgers on the grill, but my mom is going to be spending Thanksgiving alone because of the virus. And so I decided I'm going to cook a much abbreviated version of the traditional Thanksgiving dinner, and we'll have that at home, and I'll take dinner to her. So that's what we're doing, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the people I get to work with every day. I'm thankful to be able to earn a living by doing something I believe strongly in, working for an organization that I support on many, many levels, an emotional level, financial level, but I think more of a moral level, because I'm looking out for the future. And if I can play some tiny part in that, there's a lot to be thankful for. Certainly thankful for my family, including our new baby, who's driving me crazy. Our youngest is a little pit bull, who's just a few months old and plays all the time. Within that unusual family structure, there's a lot of love, and I'm thankful for that. Finally, I want to say I'm thankful to those people who make it part of their daily life, their yearly giving, to support the Oklahoma Democratic Party financially and volunteering and offering suggestions. We need to hear from you what you would like to hear and see on this program. We have tried to offer you a great variety of things, but I do encourage you to reach out with your ideas, things that you would like to hear. I want to say thank you to our chair, Alicia Andrews, our officers, Dave, Tim, and Rachel for the work that they all do as well. So I appreciate all of you being with us this evening, joining us. And guys, you all didn't have to do this on your own time, but I'm appreciative that you did. And so from those of us that you can see here on your screen tonight, the five of us, we have five of us. Yeah, okay, the five of us. I want to take a moment and just wish all of our viewers, all of our friends in Oklahoma, a happy Thanksgiving, a challenging one to be sure, because it is new. It's a new time, but we wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And please, by all means, take good care of yourself. That's the most important thing, because we want to be able to come back a month from now, a year from now, and still be visiting with you. And the only way we know for sure that that's going to happen is if we all commit to taking good care of ourselves. We'll be back again next Monday evening for a new edition of the Hamilton Report. Until then, from all of us at the Oklahoma Democratic Party, I'm Scott J. Hamilton. Thank you for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving and good night, everyone.